This happened 2 weeks ago. I was working my third night shift at the small town hospital. I thought I was starting to get used to the eerie quiet, but there was still something off. The hospital was old, and the flickering fluorescent lights added to the creepy feel of the dim hallways. I took this job to help my husband after he lost his job, but I didn't expect to feel so uneasy. One night, I heard it, a faint sound of a child's laughter coming from the pediatric wing. I stood there for a moment, convinced I imagined it. Maybe it was my tired mind playing tricks. Still, I moved on, pushing the thought away. As the nights went by, that laughter grew louder. I couldn't pretend it wasn't there anymore. On my breaks, I found myself walking toward the pediatric wing, hoping to find someone, something. Each time, there was nothing but darkness and shadows lurking. I felt uneasy, but I didn't want to admit anything was wrong. Maybe I was just exhausted. By the end of my second week, something else happened. I was in the break room when I heard it again, a ball bouncing. It echoed down the hall, rhythmic and persistent. My heart raced. I stood up, thinking maybe someone was playing a prank. I walked to the pediatric wing again, but there was nothing there, just cold air and heavy silence. I felt like someone was watching me. Part of me wanted to call for help, but I didn't want to seem crazy. I could see shadows moving, just out of my line of sight. I'd catch a glimpse, and when I turned, there was nothing. I felt my skin crawl. I wanted to shake it off, but what if this was real? I've never believed in ghosts, but as those nights dragged on, the laughter made me unsure. So that evening, I decided to face it. I took a deep breath and pushed open the door to the pediatric wing. The air felt heavy as I stepped in. The lights flickered, and I felt cold, as if someone brushed by me. I scanned the room, hoping to find the source. Empty beds, faded toys, nothing. As I turned to leave, I heard it again, the laughter, louder this time. My heart stopped. I think I called out, but I don't really remember. I felt weak. Turning back, I felt the shadows closing in on me. There, at the end of the hall, stood a child, laughing. I moved closer, and they vanished. I hurried back into the break room, my hands trembling. I didn't know what to make of that night. I question myself often. Maybe I just needed sleep. But I can't shake the feeling I wasn't alone. Something was out there watching me. I may never know what really happened. I just wish I could forget the laughter. The next night, I stumbled into the hospital, fatigue pulling at my eyelids. I had barely slept, tossing and turning, haunted by that child's laughter. I told myself I'd be strong, but I was terrified. I clocked in and grabbed a cup of coffee, hoping the caffeine would help shake off the feeling of dread. As the hours dragged on, I found myself avoiding the pediatric wing. Instead, I spent my night pacing the hallways, listening for the laughter or any sound. My colleagues were busy in their tasks, completely oblivious to the oppressive atmosphere that seemed to cling to me. I wanted to share my fears, but the words caught in my throat. They'd think I was losing it. Around midnight, a loud crash echoed from the pediatric area. My heart dropped. I froze for a moment, gathering the courage to investigate. As I walked toward the sound, my breath quickened. The air grew colder, and the flickering lights above pooled shadows that seemed to stretch and dance, as if beckoning me closer. I approached the door to the pediatric wing, my pulse racing. I pushed it open slowly, expecting to see someone playing a trick on me. It was dark inside. The faint moonlight crept in through the windows, casting strange shapes on the floor. I hesitated, but the sound of a soft whimper cut through the silence. "Hello?" I called out, my voice shaky. No answer, just silence. I stepped inside and felt a chill run down my spine. The laughter wasn't there, but the whimpering grew louder. It sounded like a child, but it was mixed with something else, like muffled cries. I felt drawn to it, yet every instinct warned me to leave. That's when I saw it. A small, ragged toy lying on the floor, a well-worn teddy bear, its fur disheveled and one eye missing. I picked it up, looking around for the child I thought must have lost it. The shadowy corners felt alive, watching me with unseen eyes. My hands trembled as I turned to leave, but the whispers of laughter returned, echoing in my mind. I was about to bolt when I caught movement in my peripheral vision. I spun around, heart racing, and there it was, the same child from before, standing in the far corner. But now, it wasn't just laughter. The child looked frightened, their eyes wide and pleading. They reached out to me, and I could see the ghostly outline fading in and out of focus. "Help me," they whispered. The voice was soft yet piercing, filling the room with an overwhelming sadness. I wanted to run, but I was rooted to the spot. Everything spun around me, and the shadows grew thicker. With sudden clarity, I realized I needed to get out. I stumbled backward, clenching the teddy bear like a lifeline, and fled the pediatric wing. I burst into the break room, gasping for air. My heart thumped in my chest as I tried to make sense of what just happened. I held the bear tightly, my fingers brushing against its worn fabric. "Why is this happening?" I whispered to myself, panic washing over me again. I didn't have long to ponder when the lights in the break room flickered violently, plunging me into darkness for a heartbeat. Alone and terrified, I caught my breath, feeling the chill swallow me whole. Suddenly, a voice broke the silence. "Why did you leave me?" I froze. I couldn't see anything, but I felt something was right behind me. I turned slowly, every muscle tensed. The air was thick, and dread pooled in my stomach. I forced myself to face whatever was lurking behind me. The faint glow from the emergency exit sign cast a feeble light, illuminating the edges of the room, but the darkness seemed to pulse with a life of its own. Who are you?" My voice trembled, barely a whisper. I received no answer, just an unsettling silence that wrapped around me like a shroud. Then the lights flickered again. For a split second, I caught a glimpse of a figure, a child, standing in the shadows, their hair disheveled and eyes wide. Fear gripped me. The child looked just like the apparition I had seen moments before, but there was something in their gaze that made my heart race faster. Desperation. "Please," they said, their voice barely above a whisper. "You have to remember." Remember? What was there to remember? I wanted to ask, but I couldn't formulate the words amidst the chaos in my mind. Every instinct urged me to run, to escape the mounting dread, but I felt drawn to this child. My heart ached, as if recognizing a pain I couldn't fully comprehend. Before I could reconsider, I reached out. "What do you need? How can I help you?" My fingers brushed the air, seeking connection in the darkness. The child stepped forward slightly, their sad eyes locking onto mine. "Find him," they pleaded, their form flickering like a faulty projection. "He's still here." "Find who?" My voice echoed in the brief silence. I felt a strange pull in my chest, as if the child's voice was a lifeline to something I had long buried. The room grew colder, and I noticed the shadows were shifting, creeping closer around me. Suddenly, a loud bang erupted from the hallway outside. I jumped, adrenaline flooding my system. The child's expression turned to one of sheer panic, and within moments, they were gone, as if the air had swallowed them. I stumbled back, nearly tripping over the break room table. All I could hear was the pounding of my heart and the quickening footsteps echoing from the hallway. I darted out of the break room, instinct overriding fear. As I bolted down the corridor, my mind raced. Find who? What did the child mean? The lights flickered again, and for a split second, I thought I saw another figure, but it was too fast. I shook my head to clear it, pushing myself to run faster, weaving through the hospital's familiar corridors that now felt entirely foreign. I needed answers, but I didn't know where to start. My thoughts spiraled as I rounded a corner, and I caught a glimpse of a door ajar. Curiosity and dread bubbled within me. What if whatever I found inside could explain it all? I hesitated, but there was no choice. I had to confront this. I stepped cautiously toward the door, the chill biting at my skin. Whatever happened next could change everything. With a deep breath, I pushed it open. The door creaked as I pushed it open, spilling a sliver of light into the hallway. I stepped inside, my pulse quickening. The room was filled with medical supplies, but what caught my attention was a bulletin board plastered with photos and notices. At the center was a picture so familiar it made my heart clench. It was the child from earlier, smiling brightly, surrounded by balloons. The name beneath the photo read Ethan, and beneath that, a date that sent a wave of dread through me. A few years back, the last day he was seen. Why can't I remember? I muttered, my pulse echoing in my ears. There were articles about searches, memorials, and notes filled with hope that quickly turned dark. The sadness hung in the air, a thick fog that made it hard to breathe. Just then, an errant noise cut through the oppressive silence. A soft thud echoed from the other side of the room. My heart dropped. I turned slowly, scanning the chaotic scene, trying to quell the rising panic within me. "Who's there?" I called out, feigning a confidence I didn't feel. Silence answered. Gripping the edge of the bulletin board, I peered deeper into the room. A corner was shrouded in shadows. I took a cautious step forward. With each step, dread pooled deeper in my stomach. That's when I saw it. A small, worn-out toy lying on the floor. A red fire truck. I reached down, a tightness in my throat as familiarity washed over me. I had played with the same kind of toy when I was younger, my heart aching at the thought. Yet, it felt wrong. Why was it here? I heard a soft whisper, "Please." It was faint but unmistakable. Chills raced down my spine as I straightened up, searching for the source. I turned, feeling exposed and vulnerable. Was I going crazy? And then, like an electric jolt, I saw him. Ethan, standing near the doorway, his eyes filled with longing and sorrow. He looked just as he did in the photo, but now his form flickered as if he were a ghost tethered to this place. "You have to find him," he said again, his voice clearer but trembling. "He's in danger." My breath caught in my throat. "Find who?" I pressed, feeling the weight of his gaze. The shadows deepened around us, and the air went colder, stinging my skin. Then, everything went dark. The lights above sputtered and died, plunging the room into a stifling blackness. Panic surged inside me. I reached out blindly, trying to find something to hold on to. Whispers filled the air, and I had the distinct feeling that I was no longer alone. The child's voice, still just there, echoed off the walls. "You have to remember." Just then, a sudden crash shattered the stillness outside the room. Something or someone was coming. I felt trapped, the darkness swallowing my thoughts. I looked back toward the haunting form of Ethan. "Help me!" I shouted, my voice ringing through the vacant space. But he only shook his head, fading back into shadows. I took a deep breath. Whoever or whatever was out there, I needed to know. With one last glance at the room, I stepped back into the corridor, fear and determination driving me forward. I could no longer ignore Ethan's words. I had to find out who was in danger and how I could help. But as I turned, the whispers grew louder. They chanted a name. It sent chills down my spine. The more I listened, the more I realized I was in way over my head. I stumbled back into the hallway, my mind racing. The darkness felt thick, almost tangible, wrapping around me like a heavy blanket. The whispers followed, echoing around me as I tried to push them away. "Ethan," they chanted, their urgency rising. I had to focus. With my pulse pounding, I moved toward the nearest exit. The weight of uncertainty gnawed at me. The crash I heard earlier echoed in my mind. Whatever was happening couldn't be ignored. I had to know if it was connected to Ethan or someone else in this hospital. As I turned the corner, I saw a flicker of light from the nurses' station down the hall. Breathing a sigh of relief, I hurried toward it. I needed to find someone, anyone, who could make sense of this. But as I approached, the light suddenly flickered again and dimmed. "Hello?" I called, my voice shaky. But no one responded. Only silence. I felt a chill run down my spine. I stepped closer, peering into the room. Desks were cluttered with papers, and the faint glow of a computer monitor cast eerie shadows on the walls. It felt wrong, like the whole place was holding its breath, waiting for something to happen. That's when I noticed something on the floor. A small piece of paper, half shoved under a chair. I knelt down to pick it up. It wasn't just a scrap, it was a report. My heart raced again as I read the words, "Patient missing, last seen in the pediatric ward." My mind raced. I remembered the look on Ethan's face, fear and desperation. I couldn't shake the feeling that this was related to him. I ripped the report from the floor, folding it quickly and tucking it into my pocket. Suddenly, a door creaked behind me. I shot around, ready to face whoever or whatever was there. A figure stood there, just out of reach of the light. My stomach clenched as I felt a wave of recognition wash over me. It was another child, with familiar features and wide, fear-filled eyes. "Help me," he murmured, his voice barely above a whisper. My breath caught. The resemblance to Ethan was striking. Are you okay?" I reached out, desperate to connect. But he stepped back, shadows swallowing him. Then it hit me. "You're in danger too," I said, realization dawning. "What happened to you?" He only shook his head, retreating further into the darkness. The whispers escalated again, rising to a crescendo that was almost deafening. Panic gripped me. I had to find a way out. I turned and bolted back toward the hallway. But before I could reach it, the lights flickered out again. My heart raced, and terror gripped my chest as I stumbled through the darkness, trying to find a wall. That's when I heard it, a soft but unmistakable sound of laughter, a child's laughter echoing in the void. My skin prickled. I was not alone, and whatever was happening, it was only just beginning. I had to confront my fear. I had to find Ethan. But as I stood frozen in the dark, the laughter echoed louder, and I felt the weight of unseen eyes upon me. They were watching, waiting. And I knew, deep down, I wasn't just searching for Ethan anymore. I was being drawn deeper into something far more sinister than I could have ever imagined. I stumbled forward, blindly navigating the pitch-black hallway. The laughter still rang in my ears, a chilling reminder of how close I was to something I couldn't understand. I pressed forward, hoping to find a door, a light, anything. Then I felt it, a cold breeze brushing against my cheek. I froze, my breath catching in my throat. As quickly as it came, it vanished, leaving the silence even heavier. I strained to listen, my heart racing, as the sounds around me grew thicker, the whispers turning to a low, humming drone that pulsed through the air. "Ethan!" I called out, my voice trembling. The name echoed, swallowed by darkness. I thought of the face of the child, the striking resemblance. I needed to find him. Suddenly, the laughter returned, this time near, almost echoing from a nearby room. I followed the sound, moving cautiously now, feet barely lifting off the floor. I reached the door at the end of the hall. It was slightly ajar, light spilling out, casting strange shapes on the wall. Pushing it open, I squinted against the brightness. It was the pediatric ward. The laughter stopped abruptly, replaced by an oppressive silence. I stepped inside, the air thick with the smell of antiseptic. The room was empty, except for a single bed in the corner, sheets untouched. My heart sank. Had Ethan been here? As I scanned the room, my eyes landed on a shelf,
stuffed with toys. One toy, a worn-out teddy bear, caught my attention. It was so familiar. I walked over and picked it up, flipping it over in my hands. There was something written on the bottom. Ethan's friend, it read, followed by a faded heart. I felt a shiver run down my spine. It was Ethan's bear. The whispers surged again, now more urgent, as if they were calling me to understand, to find him. That's when I felt it, a cold hand gripping my wrist. I whipped around, heart racing. A girl stood there, her eyes wide and hollow. "You shouldn't be here," she whispered, a tremor in her voice. "They'll find you." "Who will find me?" I asked, trying to maintain some semblance of calm, but my voice cracked. "What happened to Ethan?" Her face went pale. He's lost. You have to leave." Before I could respond, lights flickered violently, illuminating the ward in sporadic flashes. Each flicker revealed glimpses of shadows dancing on the walls. The girl backed toward the far wall, panic etched on her features. I felt a wave of urgency. "Wait, please!" But she turned and bolted toward the darkness, vanishing behind the shelves. I was left alone in the room, feeling the weight of both dread and urgency. The whispers rose to a frenzy, drowning out my thoughts. Then, all at once, the lights died. I was engulfed in darkness again, my heart hammering against my ribs. In that silence, a new sound emerged, a soft, rhythmic thumping, like footsteps approaching. Somewhere in that hospital, someone, or something, was coming for me. And deep down, I knew it was only a matter of time before I'd face whatever had taken Ethan. I stood frozen, the silence suffocating. My heart pounded, and every instinct screamed at me to run. But for Ethan, I had to stay. The thumping grew louder, echoing off the sterile walls like a heartbeat. It was too methodical, too deliberate. I forced myself to move, but the darkness twisted around me. I couldn't see anything, just the vague outline of the room I had been in. The faint smell of antiseptic clung to the air, but something else mixed with it, a metallic scent that made my stomach churn. I backed toward the door, desperate to escape the oppressive gloom. As I reached toward the handle, the thumping stopped abruptly. A heavy silence settled, and I could almost hear my own breathing. Then, a low whisper floated through the air, chilling me to the bone. "Ethan." I hesitated. Was it a trick? My mind raced. But the name drew me in like a magnet. I pushed the door open, willing myself to step through. The hallway was dimly lit, a weak flicker from overhead lights barely cutting through the thick shadows. I clutched the teddy bear tighter, its rough fur anchoring me to the present. "Where are you?" I shouted, my voice cracking. No answer came. I took a few tentative steps forward, my eyes scanning for movement. As I rounded the corner, I noticed a shadow darting from one room to the next. My heart raced again, but I was compelled to follow. Maybe it was the girl. Maybe it was Ethan. I hurried down the corridor, the humming whispers now turning into faint cries. They tugged at my mind, clouding my thoughts. Then I paused, standing outside a room labeled isolation. The door was slightly ajar. I could hear a soft whimpering sound that sent shivers up my spine. "Ethan?" I whispered. There was silence. I pushed the door open wider, revealing a dark room filled with medical equipment and the faint glow of a monitor. That's when I saw it. A small figure curled up in a chair, hidden in the shadows. I moved closer, holding my breath. It was a child, maybe 8 or 9, their face pale and dirty. "Ethan?" I whispered again. His eyes shot open, wide with terror. "No! Don't come any closer!" he cried, his voice quaking. I froze. "Ethan, it's me. I'm here to help you." His gaze darted away as he pressed himself into the corner. "You don't understand. They'll take you too." Suddenly, the lights flickered again, spotlighting the room for brief moments. Each flash revealed something, a dark shape creeping along the wall. My stomach dropped. Whatever it was inching closer, driven by some unseen force. "Ethan, we have to go," I urged, reaching out. But my hand grazed the edge of his chair, and a chill shot through me. The shadows moved faster now, closing in around us. Ethan's breath quickened as he hugged his knees tighter. "They're coming! We have to hide!" Before I could react, the door slammed shut behind us. Everything fell into darkness again. I could feel Ethan's small frame trembling beside me, and I realized with horror that we were not alone. The shadows whispered, and I finally understood. I was not just a visitor here. I was prey. The darkness wrapped around me, thicker than before, and I felt an urgency rising. Ethan's breath was shallow beside me, his soft whimpers underscoring the silence. I had to do something. I couldn't let whatever was out there get to him. "Ethan, listen to me," I whispered, forcing a calmness I didn't feel. "Can you stand? We need to get out of here." His tiny voice trembled. "I can't. They'll see us." Suddenly, the monitor behind us started to beep erratically, piercing the silence like a siren. I flinched at the sound, my instincts screaming for action. I glanced behind me, but the shadows remained still. I pressed my back against the wall, trying to keep Ethan shielded. "We have to move," I repeated, gritting my teeth. I felt something move in the shadows. A fleeting glance confirmed my fears. A dark figure slithered just beyond the edge of the dim light. Panic surged inside me. Then the door creaked open, spilling in a narrow beam of light. A figure stood silhouetted in the doorway, their face obscured, but I could feel their gaze boring into us. "Help!" I shouted, certainty tinged with hopelessness. The figure didn't budge. "You shouldn't have come here," a deep voice echoed through the stillness. "Who are you?" I demanded, my voice cracking. "What do you want?" "Come with me," they said flatly. "You don't understand what you're dealing with." Ethan shivered next to me, his tiny body quaking. "No, they'll take you away." I looked down at him, his eyes wide with fear and defiance. "Ethan, we can't stay here." I took a step toward the figure, trying to find something, anything familiar in their demeanor. The dark figure took a step toward us, and without thinking, I grabbed Ethan's hand and bolted to the side, moving for the sliver of light from the doorway. But I wasn't quick enough. The air thickened, and a cold gust hit us like an invisible wave, halting my feet in place. Every shadow in the room twisted and turned, and I tried to pull Ethan with me, but he was rooted to the ground. "Let's just leave," I urged, but the darkness was coming in, and it felt suffocating. "Don't you feel it?" the figure in the doorway said. Their voice twisted with something that sent further chills down my spine. "It's already too late." Just then, a loud crash echoed down the corridor, a sound of something heavy hitting the floor, followed by hurried footsteps. The figure flinched and seemed to retreat slightly, giving me a moment of clarity. Ethan, come on, I pleaded. I yanked him, and miraculously, he broke free from whatever held him back. We raced toward the door, adrenaline pushing us on. But as I stepped into the hallway, a hand shot out from the darkness and grabbed my wrist. I barely had time to scream. Just as suddenly, a bright light erupted in the hallway, revealing another shadow, a tall figure standing over us. I felt Ethan's grip tighten on my hand, his small fingers turning white. "Get away from her!" the newcomer shouted, and I could see he was wearing a hospital uniform. A doctor? "Run!" the doctor yelled. "Now!" In that instant, I realized the shadows were no longer just shadows. They were alive, they were watching, and they were hungry. Before I could react, the room behind us flashed with chaotic shadows darting and swirling, while the dark figure stepped forward, blocking my only escape. Everything spiraled into chaos. I had to make a choice. I didn't have time to think. I needed to choose: stay fighting against the darkness, or trust the person who claimed to help us. I took a breath and pulled Ethan closer, nodding at the doctor. "This way!" We bolted down the corridor, the fluorescent lights buzzing overhead. Behind us, the sound of heartbeats echoed, but they weren't from us. Ethan stumbled, barely keeping up, and my grip tightened around his wrist. "Stay close!" I yelled, glancing back as the shadows surged forward. They were fast. I could see them flickering in the corners of my vision. "We can't let them catch you!" the doctor shouted, glancing back at us with wild eyes. "They're stronger in the dark!" I had no idea who this man was or what shadows he was talking about, but I believed him. I could feel an energy behind us, a coil of darkness eager to ensnare us. We turned a corner and burst into an open space, what looked like the hospital's break room. Dim light barely illuminated the room, but it was a sanctuary compared to the corridor. The doctor slammed the door shut behind us, briefly cutting off the shadow's advance. "Lock it!" he commanded. "Quick!" I glanced around. A flimsy metal chair rested against the door. I shoved it under the handle, my heart racing. What just happened back there? The doctor shook his head, his brow furrowed with tension. "We're not safe yet." He darted to the windows, pushing them shut. "These things can sense fear. We need a plan." Ethan's breathing was rapid, and I knelt beside him, brushing hair from his forehead. "Are you okay?" He nodded, but tears sparkled in his eyes. "I want to go home." "I know," I said, my voice softening. "I'll get us out of here." "Not if we can't face the dark," the doctor interjected, furiously pressing his hands against the window frame, as if trying to hold something back. "If he can't handle this, it will take him and us." "Who are you?" I pressed. "Why do you know so much?" He turned, desperation in his eyes. "I'm Dr. Harris. I've studied this phenomenon for years, but it's never felt this powerful. They're feeding off whatever fear we have. We need to confront it." As he spoke, shadows slipped through the cracks of the door, writhing like living smoke. A shiver ran down my spine. "Confront what? It feels more like a nightmare." "Your boy," he said urgently. "You've got to help him face what's scaring him. Otherwise, we're all lost." "Ethan," I turned to him, heart racing. "What's scaring you right now?" He recoiled slightly. I don't want to be alone." "Then we can't leave each other's side," I said firmly, stealing my gaze back at the doctor. A low growl stirred outside the door, deeper than I'd ever felt, and the temperature dropped sharply. The shadows pressed against the door, and I knew we had limited time. "Listen," Dr. Harris said, urgency rising. "If we confront whatever this is, we may stand a chance. If we wait, it will tear us apart." Before I could nod, the chair scraped against the ground, and a loud crack rang out. I held my breath. That's when I saw it. Shadows spilling through the door, twisting into something more tangible, more real. And it was heading straight for Ethan. "Stay behind me!" I shouted. I stepped forward instinctively, shielded Ethan. With my body as tendrils of darkness surged toward us. The chaos of shadows twisted and writhed, forming shapes that clawed at the air, desperate to get closer. I could hear Ethan's soft whimpers, drowned by a cacophony of whispering voices that filled the break room, weaving between fear and something else, a longing. "Ethan, you need to stay strong," I urged, trying to project a confidence I barely felt. "Remember the teddy bear. Remember you're not alone. I'm here, and we're going to beat this together." Dr. Harris moved closer to the door, bracing against the pressure of the dark force. "Focus, Ethan. Think of the warmth, of all the love you have. You have to visualize it like a light that can push away the shadows." Ethan clenched his jaw, eyes wide with fear. But I saw something else behind that fear, a flicker of determination igniting within him. He took a deep breath, and I could feel the energy shift, as if he was willing the fear aside. I looked back at the shadows, carving through the air with a menacing hunger. "You don't own us," I shouted, my voice cutting through the tension like a blade. "You have no power over us." As if in response, the shadows pulsed, recoiling slightly as if provoked. I locked eyes with Ethan, and he nodded ever so slightly, channeling all his attention on pushing back the creeping darkness. Before I could prepare myself for what came next, Dr. Harris shouted, "Now, Ethan, visualize that light!" Before us, an almost tangible glow flickered to life, bathed in radiance and breaking through the oppressive darkness. It burst forth from Ethan, illuminating the break room, the shadows suddenly faltering under the strength of his resolve. The whispers turned to frantic screams, splattering against the light, retreating like a tide pulled away by force. But it wasn't over. The shadows rallied, seemingly coalescing into a single mass, roaring with frustration. I could feel the cold wash over me, threatening to pull me under again, but we stood firm. "Together, Ethan," I cried, reaching out. "You can do this!" He squeezed my hand as we pushed forward together, the light growing brighter, hotter. In that moment, I knew he wasn't just a scared child anymore. He embodied hope, resilience, the refusal to be chained by fear. The figure at the door lunged forward, and I braced myself, prepared for the worst. But the walls began to tremble, shaking off the remnants of the shadows. The entity recoiled, howling in defeat as the light exploded outward, washing over everything in a powerful wave. With a blinding flash, the darkness shattered, disintegrating into nothingness. The room shifted with a rush of fresh air, clearing the oppressive atmosphere. Dr. Harris fell to his knees, breathing heavily, and I pulled Ethan into my arms, tears streaming down my face. "Did we do it?" I whispered, feeling a weight lift from my chest. Ethan clung to me, shaking, but undeniably relieved. "I think so," he breathed, uncertainty mixing with awe. The remnants of the shadows faded into echoes, whispers barely audible now, a soft reminder of what had once filled the space. I looked around the room, half expecting something to leap out again, but it felt completely different. The laughter that had haunted my nights was gone, replaced by an inspiring silence. Yet I couldn't shake the feeling that our battles were far from over. Outside the room, I could still hear murmurs through the hallways, fragmented cries waiting to be confronted like an unfinished song. Did we truly defeat whatever lingered here, or had we merely scratched the surface of something deeper and far more sinister? As Dr. Harris pushed himself upright, looking dazed, I felt a stirring of uncertainty settle within me. "Is it truly over?" I asked, my voice trembling with apprehension. He met my gaze, his expression composed yet heavy. "Things have changed, but these shadows never truly fade. They linger just out of sight, waiting for fear to return. We must be vigilant." I sighed, knowing he was right. I might have saved Ethan, but there were countless others like him. Could I really leave this hospital behind? My heart tightened when I realized that this wasn't just my journey anymore. It was now a shared fight against whatever darkness still loomed at the borders of our reality. "I won't let go," I promised Ethan, clutching his hand tighter. "We will keep fighting together."
And as we stood there, I made a silent vow to confront every shadow, no matter how formidable, allowing the warmth of newfound friendship to forge my path forward, even when I knew the answers may remain just beyond reach, whispering from somewhere I couldn't see.